Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Codeword once again, and this is Kaushik. So in this video we shall develop a tracking application on this pandemic situation. This is not going to be a very beginner video because I am expecting that you have knowledge on Ajax, jQuery, etc.
So using this JSON response, we can make our application. So this is going to be our data source. Okay. So let's download the version 2.0.5 of JVector map. Okay. So as you can see, the map is appeared in our application. Okay. So now we want to do is that we want to set some color for each country differently based on the infected cases. Okay. Deep red means most infected area, that is China, you know, right? Our country India, it is now increasing but still not as high as China or Italy or some other countries. So this is much lower shade of the red is showing here. Okay. But as you can see that in our application currently we are not getting any number. Okay, so how many are infected here and how many are cured, etc. So for that we need to add few more codes. So let me go to the application, and as you can see that I can add some data here. So I copied this line of code from this particular tutorial section. So as you can see that they are adding some data as GDP and then the GDP data. Okay, so if you hover in any country, that particular GDP data is being shown here. Okay, so for our case also we can also set our own data so that whenever we are going to hover on any country, the total data needs to be shown for a particular country, you know, the total number of cases and etc. Okay, so let's do that. First, let me define three variables here. Okay, so first variable is var total cases. Okay, then var so let's say country, let's change the variable name as country wise cases. Okay, and next country wise deaths. Okay, and then finally country wise cured. Okay, so in these are the blank objects. Similarly, like the infected data, we want to set some data inside these particular objects also. Okay, so let me put data inside these particular objects. So let me copy this thing, and country equals to, so I'm going to put the data a bit later. So just first define these three uh, objects here. Okay, so that's it. Now I set the total cases for a particular country. So I don't need the country wise cases actually, because the infected data is holding that data. So I'm removing this thing and this thing from here also. So I want to get the data from the country wise death and country wise cured. Okay, so for that let me just uncomment this data printing, and let me remove this infected data console log, because I need this data so that I can understand that from where I'm going to get the detailed data of the country wise deaths and keyword values. Okay, okay, so there is some syntax mistake must be, yeah. So let me just comment it for a while and refresh this particular page. So you can see that the data is appeared here. Now if I go to the object, you can see that the total uh, dates. Okay, so total dates is showing here. Okay, so to get the total dates, all I need to do is that element dot dates, right? And to get the, okay, so this is not the dates one, so I need to put it here. Okay, right? So for to get the total keyword case for each country, I need to go to this recovered. Okay, so I need to fetch the data from this recovered attribute. So this should be dot recovered. Okay, so now if I can uncomment it, now I can get the total cases, total dates country wise, and total recovered case country wise. Okay, So now I want to show this data in the map whenever some users hover on a particular country. Okay, so for that all I have to do is that just define a variable html as blank and then html plus equals to, so total cases, that should be infected data, then code. So code is basically the country code, so we are also setting the country code here and then retrieving the data from the country code. Okay, now let me add a line break here. Here also I want to add the line break, and we don't need anything here, sorry, html value should be here only, and also we want to add a line break here also. So this is total cases, now this is total dates, and now finally total keyword. Okay, so let me remove the total. Okay, so cases, dates and keyword. Okay, and for the dates we need to use this particular object, and for the keyword cases we need to use this particular object. Okay, so that's it. Now if I go to the page and refresh it, so if I now hover any particular country, you can see that for the Russia the total cases is 431, date is 1 and keyword is 17, right? So similarly for China, India, if you hover on any particular country, you can get the detail, the spread of this particular virus for that particular country. Okay, so let me add a bit more detail so that it becomes more useful for everyone. So let me add some percentage calculation here. So per death percentage. Okay, so death percentage should be total infected cases by sorry, so basically total death cases by total infected cases into 100, right? So that should be something like that. And now just typecast it on float, so pass float, and finally let me go to the end and to fixed 2, so that I can get the value up to 2 decimal point only. Okay, so let me add this date percentage with the this particular HTML. So for that, let me HTML plus equals to date percentage plus death percentage, right? Okay, so let me add the line break here also. So now if I go to the browser and refresh it again, so now if I hover it, so you can see the death percentage here is only 0.23. For China it is 4.04. For our country India it is only 1.96. Okay, so let me just make it a bit better. It should be something like that. Okay, so that's it. So just refresh it now. Now you can see that the percentage sign is also coming, but I think it will be better if we keep the percentage value after the date itself. Okay, so just calculate the date percentage before this date line and then add it in this way. Sorry, date percentage. Okay, and percent. Okay, so I don't want to add this date percentage in a separate line, so that's it. Okay, so now let me go to the browser and refresh it. So you can see that the death percentage is showing beside the death cases itself. So for our country it is 1.96%, for China it is 4.04, and if I go to the Italy it is 9.51%. It's too high for the Italy, and for US it is 1.15%. Okay, so it is our duty not to bring that value up to this 9.51%. Okay, so that's it for the map purpose. Okay, so let me go to the code here, and let me first add one section at the top. Okay, so at this section, div class equals to upper. Okay, so inside this upper, let me add three more div here. Div class equals to stat, and this, let me add different IDs for this. A total cases ID equals to total keyword. Okay, ID equals to total. So we are going to show some stat at the top of the page. The stat will be worldwide instead of the country wise. Okay, so let me add some styling for the upper section here. So upper, it should be top 0, and width should be 60%, and left should be 20%. Okay, and background, let's make it as red for now. I will change it later from the browser. For the stats, let me add for the stat divs, it should be tot left, and then width should be 30%. And for the upper, let me add some padding here also. Padding, let's say 10 pixel. And for the stat, the text align should be center. Okay, so let me define three variables here. So per world cases equals to 0, for world keyword equals to 0, and for world, and it should be death, right? World death equals to 0. Okay, so initially I declared three variables as 0. Okay, so now I want to add the data for each country with these particular variables to get the total number in the world. Okay, so world cases plus equals to cases, right? World keyword plus equals to this one, right? Element dot recovered. And similarly world wise world dates, right? World, okay, so let me make this D as capital. Okay, so world dates, it should be element dot dates. Okay, so that's it. And finally we need to set this variable in this particular divs. Okay, so let me add few more things here, like font size should be 20 pixel. Font weight should be bolder, and color should be white. Okay, so total cases, total keyword, and total dates are the three IDs here. So dollars has total cases dot html equals to total cases, and a line break, and finally the world cases, right? So that's it. Now let me go to the next one, total keyword. Total keyword, and total keyword, and it should be total keyword, and here it should be total dates, right? So here also it should be total dates, and I go to the browser and refresh it, so it's not coming here actually. So let me see. Okay, so I know why it is not coming, because I need to set the Z index here. Okay, so first thing is that I need to set the upper position as absolute. So it should be absolute, and Z index should be 2. Okay, so let me go to the browser. Now if I refresh it, so uh, these two are coming, but not the last one, because total death, I think I okay, so it should be total death. Okay, so if I now refresh it, you can see that uh, the statistics is being shown here. Okay, so right now it is 16,558. Okay, so I just want to fade this red color a bit, so just make it a bit transparent. So just keep it something like this. So just copy the hex code from here, and let me go to the code and just paste it over here. Okay, so now if I refresh this page, you can see that the total deaths, total cured, and total cases are showing at the top of our application. So now I want to show the percentage here also. So let me do that first. So cured percentage. Till now the cured percentage should be total world cured by world cases, right, and into 100. Okay, and finally I need to typecast it as float. So pass float and then 2 fixed 2 to get the value up to 2 decimal point. Okay, so for the death also, so death percentage, it also should be the total deaths I need to add here instead of total cures. So now I have the cured percentage and the death percentage in our application. So all I have to do is that I need to set it here, right? So let's do it. So I need to add the cured percentage here. Cured percentage, it should be percent, and similarly here also the cured percentage, and the, so this should be the death percentage, right? So death percentage as this. Okay, so that's it. If I now go to the application and refresh it, so you can see that total cured percentage is 26%. Total death, there must be something wrong. Okay, so I need to put the death percentage instead of the world death, right? Okay, so if I now refresh it, so you can see that the total death percentage is only the 4.33%, but in Italy itself it is 9.51%. So that's it. So currently you can see that in our country the total cases is 511 and death is 10 total, and in the China it is still increasing. And I got a news in morning news, I have seen that the community transmission is spreading again. So that is another thing which makes us worried a bit again, because from last few days we came to know that China is improving, but I come to know like 70 or more people has been infected again from the community transmission. Okay, so that's it. Up to this point, we are stopping our video, because I have few more statistical data I want to add in the two side of this particular application, but the video length is already too much long, so I'll make another video on this to complete the application fully. Okay, so that's it. Be safe. Thank you.
This is the by default player 1 turn. If I just select it here like player 2 turn, now this is player 1 turn. This is again player 2 turn. Player 2 is giving like, let's say here, and now it is player 1 turn, and player 1 already win. But the issue is that I am not seeing any message that the game is over or the player 1 has been won, because I have not added